That's quite good, actually. Is that comfortable?
Yeah, it's fine.
Fuck yeah. With the background of whatever WeWork art is. 6. It was pretty like simple structure.
Yeah, I've seen a few episodes.
You're a fan, are you?
Yeah.
What's been your favourite episode?
Oh, I like the one with Dan and Chelsea.
The family one?
Yeah, the family one was good.
That was a good one.
Good energies.
That was good energies, yeah. Oh, mate, well, I'm glad you're a fan. So I'll start off sitting down here just to do the intro.
Yeah.
And then
I'll come snapping in.
Yeah, and you just give yourself a little bit of a round of applause. Yeah, exactly like that. My head might be cut off a little bit here, but
yeah, if you scooch in just
like this.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
G'day, legends. Welcome back to Mikey Talk. This is episode 20, and today we have a very special episode because it is actually the first time we have a fantasy football edition. So there's a guy that's the commissioner of the league. He didn't to start off with, but he's got the reins now. Owner of TPU, bit of a controversial villain in the league, and I think he's the right person to come down and share our stories because we're heading into year 15 right now. It's a bit of a feat. Started in 2011, so we've got the war room fight out, about to step into draft. Love to introduce you to Joe Redman.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Joe. How do you wake up on draft morning? Do you wake up feeling good, nervous?
Yeah, woke up feeling good. Pretty much all of today at work was, lunchtime mocks. Right before I got in the car, did a mock. Got home, did a mock. So just a lot of preparation. As you can see, we take it pretty seriously. Everyone's got their little ranking sheets, and everyone's got their little secrets and tips and tricks on what they want to do to try to sort of get the edge on draft night.
It's a big day.
It is a big day.
Sick. Well, let's jump in, mate. So, as I said, this is the 15th season, started in 2011. Mm-hmm. How does it feel to be in charge of something that you are historically horrible at?
It's something that's... I don't think the commissioner role is super, super important. I think it's more inputting things that the league votes on. But it's quite nice to know that the boys trust me to sort of make sure everything goes smoothly. This is the first year we've actually built a fixture, so I sort of sat down and over a couple of days I sort of worked at it and tried to get so that optimal, so you get good matchups every week, that kind of stuff. It feels good to be able to lead the charge, I guess. Even if I am historically shit at it.
Yeah, I do like what you did with the rivalry matchups and whatnot. It's like when you get 15 years in, you need to do little things to keep it fresh.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I mean, it was the same fixture every year, and so I thought, let's spice it up a little bit. You got a couple of traditional matchups early on, but then in total, you want there to be a matchup every week that everybody in the league is looking at, and there's obviously some big personalities in there. Some are bigger than others. And when those big personalities clash, it's always a bit of a story. It's a bit of cinema. So
that's it, mate. I will just say, every time you smack the table, it vibrates the camera. That's not your fault. It's because we have the briefcase as the tripod. That's my bad.
Mate, it's a good briefcase.
So let's go back to when it started. Then, do you have a version or any memories of when the founding fathers set up the league?
I do. We actually didn't do a draft that year.
Really?
It was one of those ones where everyone put in their rankings and it just automatically picked for everybody. So I remember actually lying to somebody called Nathan Foster, who was one of the Punani Pirates. I told him, I said, there's no point of putting Michael Vick in your top 5 because everyone's going to have him in your top 5. I ended up getting Michael Vick that year. But that was sort of like the foundations of it. It wasn't as big and it wasn't as, as well put together as it is now. We were sort of everybody was sort of finding their feet kind of thing. Quentz was obviously the commissioner, so he would just make whatever rules he liked up, and won the first couple of leagues by cheating.
Yeah, there's a few asterisks next to when the championships really started.
Yeah, I'd say it was probably when we expanded to 12. I'd say it was when people really started to take it seriously. We added a lot more people into the league. We've obviously had a lot of people come and go. Some people can't handle the heat. Most recently, Zico, obviously. Sad to see him go.
Not really. He didn't do the punishment. That's pretty bad.
That's the big one. And a lot of people don't do the punishment, which is really disappointing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah, so, but there's a lot of comings and goings, but Initially I think it was only an 8-man league, and there wasn't even a draft, and nobody really knew what they were doing. And slowly over time we've added in a lot of people who've become regulars now. 3 people from outside of high school, which is just showing how much the league is growing.
Just an expansion. I mean, think of the AFL in the 1800s. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like you got to start somewhere.
So I would say you are a bit of a villain of the league. Some would say a pest. Why do you think you are always being kicked out of the chat and treated in such a way?
Oh, look, I think it's not so much nowadays, but definitely a few years ago, maybe I was a bit over-ego and I sort of rated myself a little bit too highly in terms of how my players were performing, and I'd try to get in people's heads. And ultimately, I think that maybe rubbed a few people the wrong way. maybe waking up to 80 notifications and 70 of them being from me is probably not the best way to go about it. But yeah, definitely probably deserved, to be honest. But I think we as a league have sort of moved past that. I think everyone's sort of calmed down a little bit, and when it comes to just mass sending, I think there's still people who are very active and people who aren't, but it seems to be more interacting with each other. It's a good way for everyone to sort of get together and keep friendships alive.
A bit of maturity into 15 years.
I wouldn't say maturity. I mean, you've read the chats. Mature.
We won't be showing any of them.
Nah, definitely not.
So, legendary meltdowns. What's the most epic meltdown that you've witnessed and can remember?
Oh, well, there's 2 that come to mind. One of them was on a draft night, but it wasn't about fantasy. I think you know the one I'm talking about, when Kizza farted in Luke's face.
Oh, I forgot about this one. Yeah, tell this story.
So, Kizza was sitting in like a chair. I think we were at Dave's place in Mitcham, and Kizza was sitting in a chair, and he's got up and to go to the toilet, and Luke's come and taken his spot. And so Kizza's like, get up, and there's a few expletives flying around, and Luke's pretty much just said, make me get up. And so Kizza's just turned around and farted in his face. Kizza's got a broken arm at this point, so he's got the cast on, and Luke has just picked him up one-handed and shoved him against the wall, and pretty much like, don't fart at me. And Kizza's gone, I farted all my friends' faces. And so yeah, that was just like a pretty funny draft day meltdown. But in terms of actual fantasy, I'm not sure if you remember this one. You probably do. When Pinto wanted Henderson on the waivers, but messed up his waiver orders.
I do remember this.
And then threw a massive tantrum and threatened to quit the league.
I do remember.
Because of that. That one went on for about 3 hours before people finally gave in and gave him Henderson.
Did we give it to him?
Yeah, we did. And then the worst part was, because he'd had a deal with Charlie saying that if he got Henderson and Charlie got Newton, they'd trade. Then he demanded that Charlie trade Cam Newton to him, which was even funnier. But yeah, that's probably the 2 biggest meltdowns in terms of a draft day meltdown and then a one that happened in the season.
Yeah, Jack's one was a proper bitch fit, wasn't it? Like, he threw it. I feel like we ended up just giving it to him just because he was fucking having such a tantrum.
Oh, he threatened to quit the league mid-season, which is like never happened, not mid-season. Like, we've had people come and go, but like never mid-season. That's crazy.
That's fucked. Let's talk about the acid trade for a little bit, if you remember it. Do you have any perspective of that story? And how does a commissioner decide what is ethical?
Well, the acid trade, you're going to have to...
So the acid trade was...
I remember it happening. I couldn't remember what the deal was, though.
So a couple of years ago, I wanted to trade Kenny Golladay to Pancake Boys, David, and he didn't want to do the trade. So we went back to my house and... I persuaded him into taking acid with me. So we dropped acid, hung out, and then I showed him a couple hours of Kenny Golladay highlights, telling him like how good Kenny Golladay is, and he approved the trade, and we sent it through while we're still tripping. And then the next day, he wasn't too happy about it, and yeah, in like the scheme of things, it ended up going on to actually win him the championship, which is funny. But yeah.
Look. I think we've all sort of come to the same conclusion when it comes to trades, and once you've accepted them, it's just too bad. Unless there's a bit of collusion going on, maybe 9th place trades 3rd place, all their best players for nothing. I mean, Dave was just stupid enough to do acid, even if he had that ulterior motive to do it. if he was still, he made the conscious decision to take the acid, and so therefore, that's on him. I feel like unless if the trade is done in good faith where both parties think they're getting a good deal, there's nothing wrong with it.
I agree. We're adults.
Yeah, exactly right. And we've had it before where we used to veto trades. They were too lopsided, and it just got so messy because you weren't sure what was too lopsided. Where do you draw the line? The commissioners were deciding they'd do a lopsided trade, it'd go through. Somebody else does it, it doesn't. And so we just said blanket rule, unless there's clear collusion, it just goes through.
Yeah, I feel like in amateur leagues you need the veto thing because people don't know what they're doing. They might get fleeced, but once you hit the big leagues, like you shouldn't really, like there should never really be a need for a veto of a trade.
No, and look, I think everybody's been on both ends of that spectrum as well. But everybody's been on a trade where they've absolutely fleeced someone, and then everybody's been on the side of a trade where they're maybe desperate, they may need a win, they're looking at their buys and they're going, I've got a lot of buys, need to win this week, they make a bad trade. We've all been there on both sides of it, and it's just part of fantasy. You've got to hope that you're on the right side when you make the trades.
It does feel better being on the raping side.
It does. Are we using that word, are we?
Oh, well, that's what it is. It's a trade rape at the end of the day.
It is a trade rape, yeah.
So, as someone that sells printers for a living but can't win a championship, where do you think your juju situation lies, and why have the fantasy gods cursed you? And for anyone that doesn't know, juju is kind of like a karma of fantasy football. The better juju you have, the more the fantasy gods look after you. The worse juju you have, the worse they do.
Yeah, I'd say, first off, me being a printer salesman, that's only part of my job. There's also other things about it, but when it comes to the juju side of things, definitely there was a long time where I just denied that it existed. I think that probably led to a lot of my bad luck. But seeing some of the winners and how mediocre some teams are that have gone on to win it, and you look at some of the teams that, in particular me and maybe Tyron have had, where they've been easily the best teams that year and just fallen short. It's just, there must be something in the air. It must exist. So I feel like my juju has increased a lot. I think I've embraced juju now. I try to do good by everybody in the league when it comes to, when it comes to the business decisions. I think I try to do everybody the right way. And I think I also cleaned up my trade. What would you call it? My trade...
quality,
Quality, reputation.
Yes.
Now I'm seen as a very fair trader.
Yes.
If I send an offer through, it's normally going to be pretty balanced, whereas before I was trying to trade rape people left, right, centre, and it's ultimately I find that the guys that do a lot of trade raping don't end up winning the league. Like Tyron last year, his deal with you for Aubrey for Kamara, and he didn't win the league. That was a massive trade rape.
It was.
And he didn't win the league, so maybe juju frowns upon those who do a trade rape. Last year when I traded with Zico, it looked like an absolute masterstroke. It gave up James Conner for CD Lamb. There's the other pieces thrown about, but right after that my whole team fell apart. So
it's juju.
It's juju. It's about being fair and balanced.
Yeah, even the Golladay thing, that was bad juju for me, and it seemed like Dave was getting the second hand of an acid trade, but the good juju that gave to him actually won him a championship.
Yeah, there is something about it. It's there's definitely as a juju skepticist early on, I've seen the light. It definitely happens.
It could be your year this year because you have been on the incline ever since. I think you quitting the league as well was very bad for your juju.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, that one was Well, when I quit the league, it was. Oh, you got to remember, I was 20, 21 years old, and it was literally an 11-on-1 every day. But now I came back the next year, and I think I really embraced that villain role, and I think I did it much better as well. I wasn't so whiny and victim, why is it always me kind of thing. It was more, right, well, I'm going to, try to win this thing, and I'm going to, talk shit, but I'm going to back it up. Now, obviously it didn't happen last year, didn't back up my shit talking last year, but neither did 10 other teams. Everybody talks shit at the start of the year, and only one winner.
You're on the way up. Speaking of last year's winner, so we had Coconut Water 69, formerly known as Kiz's Eagles, the same guy that farted on Luke's face. He missed the draft and was completely inactive, yet somehow won. How does that make you feel, considering something you've never accomplished?
Look, I don't have an issue with him winning. The issue with me was that he's been very inactive for a very long time. So I thought that it would be a good idea to maybe move him on and get somebody else and who's going to be a bit more active, a little bit less of a liability, because obviously when you don't draft your team, you don't do any waiver wire work, you don't do any trades, and you just stumble into winning because somebody's drafted you an awesome team, it kind of feels a bit empty for the rest of the league. But ultimately, he did no work and won, and that's also shows what was the league doing. What was the other 11 guys doing when a guy literally just auto set his lineup and beat everybody?
That's fucked.
So, whilst I was happy to sort of move him on after that, people have brought up that you can't really kick out a champion, that it's his way of sort of staying connected to us, which is, I guess, what fantasy is really all about, is, having a bit of fun with your mates, even if we do take it a little bit more seriously than others. Yeah, I'd say I don't have any issue with him winning it. That's on the other 11 guys. You got to find a way to win.
But you're right, it is about the friends. At the end of the day, this is a 15-year-long game that's been going on. Mm-hmm. It's epic.
Yeah, it's been an incredible ride.
So, the Fantasy Guru being the only team to win back-to-back championships in 2018, 2019, but in a little bit of a slump since. As someone who's watched this domination from the outside, what's your theory on why the Guru era ended?
I think Guru had one big advantage in one of those years, which was that he was living in America at the time. Whilst that's not the only reason why he won, you still got to put in the work, you still got to make the right decisions. Having the news come through that a running back is going to be starting, or maybe that there's an injury to a wide receiver, and picking up another wide receiver, a couple of hours before the news breaks here in Australia, when everyone wakes up at 3 a.m. to watch the games, is definitely an advantage. But I also think Guru lost his cutthroat sort of attitude. He used to be the guy, when he called you up for a trade, you think that it's a fair one, and then you look back on it and you go, how did I let that happen? He just had a way of sort of manipulating people. Whereas now, I feel like the last few years, he's sort of become content with his back-to-back. Now, you know better than me if that's the case, but I think he's definitely in for a big year. I was talking to Guru a couple of weeks ago after the sort of draft order was set, and we were talking about bringing him back as a villain and how he needs to become a villain again, because I think the league is good when Guru is going good. I think it adds another dynamic to it because everybody wants to beat him.
I don't mind the idea of a little TPU Guru alliance, you're the evil TPU. I need to bring back a little bit of my roughness.
I'll work with anybody. I'll work with anybody. When it comes to trades, I'll work with anybody. Nobody's ever going to be off the table in terms of trade talks. Nobody's ever going to be off the table in terms of trade partners. So, there's always a trade to be made. We'll
chat some more when the camera's off.
Yeah.
So, the punishment system, bit of controversy around that at the moment. What's your message to whoever comes last, and tell us about the Guru Shardy's comedy night?
So most recently Zico finished last. His punishment wasn't, I think, actually that bad. I think there's definitely been worse ones. His punishment was to go on Swan Street in a costume and wash windows for 3 hours or until he makes $20. I think the most disappointing thing though was he gave everybody I'll do it, I can do it on this day, can we do draft on this day, made everybody sort of shuffle everything around, and then just didn't tell us he was quitting. That's the more disappointing thing than even not doing the punishment. But it seems like something that a lot of people avoid, whether it's because Kiz is over in Perth and there's no one to sort of police that, or they just end up leaving the league. Obviously Dan, your brother, also owes a punishment that I don't think is ever going to get done. But I think it's quite easy to avoid it when you enter the league for a year, you finish last, and you just go, I just won't do it and just not play. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like when the Guru and Shardy's finished last back-to-back years and they did the comedy night, which was hilarious, they didn't want to lose their spot in the league. They wanted to stay in it, so it made it a little bit easier. I feel like we've got 12 guys or 11 guys that are truly committed and would do the punishment though now. And then Kiz is over in Perth, and it's going to be pretty hard to police him. But that comedy night was hilarious. The jokes that you guys made were pretty funny, but I think the real comedy started right afterwards when those girls, those OnlyFans girls came up to you cracking it about your first joke about OnlyFans models.
They didn't like it, did
No,
they?
did
They were not happy.
No, not at all.
I thought it was a good joke.
It got me laughing. I was laughing at everything that night. So.
That was a good night, but that's what the benchmark should be for punishment. So like, yeah.
I think so. I think like when it comes to the punishment, everyone's so worried about like perception, but honestly, there's nothing worse than going back on your word. I feel like that's worse perception than, you know, oh, you look like a dickhead for a couple of hours. Who cares?
Yeah, I agree. And this year's punishment?
This year's punishment is pretty brutal, but it's not brutal in the fact that it's like, oh, you wouldn't want to do it. It's just brutal in the fact that it takes a lot of time. It's catching the Spirit of Tasmania from Geelong to Devonport, and then catching the next Spirit back. But there's a 12-hour gap, and there's nothing to do in Devonport. So one of the league guys, Les, he actually did it for his Supercoach draft. He finished last, and he had to do that, and he was saying he wouldn't want to do it again. Not that it was like a terrible time, but it was just like a whole weekend pretty much wasted.
That's great punishment.
It's a great punishment.
But you're right, you don't want it. Like, you don't want to have to be doing that.
You don't want to have to do it, but it's like, it's not humiliating,
Yeah.
which I think is the big issue, is a lot of our punishments were based on sort of like humiliation.
Public humiliation.
Yeah, like the comedy shows, the singing competitions, the washing windows, the Instagrams, the running the tan in a dress.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it is like public humiliation, whereas like this one is just like, oh, you just got to do it by yourself and vlog yourself and send it into a group chat.
Yeah.
So I feel like this one will actually get done regardless of who finishes last.
I think so, mate. All right, we've made it pretty much the whole way through. Just got one question left for you.
Yeah.
We're about to draft now. What's a hot take you have on this season?
On the fantasy season or the NFL season?
Fantasy season.
I think we're going to have, for the third time in a row, a first-time champion.
Wow. So who are the options for first-time champion?
Pulley, who's the most recent ad. TPU, which is me. Tyron.
Backfire bandwagon.
Les, who's been in it. This is his second year. And Ashman, I believe, are the 5 guys that have never won it.
So 5 out of 12.
5 out of 12. It's going to come from one of those 5.
Wow. Unless Guru gets in the way, but thank you, mate. Thank you for coming on Mikey Talk. It's been a pleasure. That was a great interview. I really look forward to keeping the world up to date on the league and all our antics.
I'm excited.
Let's go draft.
Yeah, let's go draft.
Go Guru.
Oh, sick.
Say go Guru.
Go. Trapped in.
The door's locked, eh? You sure it's locked?
Yeah, like, oh, it's a slide one. Fucking remember.
Oh my god.
Oh, retard.
Oh my god. If that's any sign.
Oh no, mistake.
Into the war room.